A holy night. All was calm and all was bright round young virgin, mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild. Hush, hush. I see the clouds speak, sing of his glory, sing hush. I see the sky part showing the Father's heart, sing hush, hush. I see the stars bow, heaven is smiling down, sing hush, hush. Making my wrongs right, giving me life. I see the clouds speak, sing of his glory, sing hush. I see the clouds part, showing the Father's heart, sing hush. I see the stars bow, heaven is smiling down, sing hush. Making my wrongs right, giving me life on the side. Until then a child is born, a son is. It's a Sunday night, it's a holy night, it's a Sunday night, it's a holy night.
You got a way of making me stay. Ay. You pull me closer when I push you away. Yeah. So you the number one in my life. I won't move. Looking at the sky, heaven in my view. Hold up, wait, who competing with the moves? Whoa, got them singing like some oohs. Yeah, glory flowing like some hues. Ay, gotta thank you 'cause when I'm not killing it, you keep it real in you. Just like a fisherman, you help me reel it in. Your love is deeper than oceans I'm swimming in. Yeah, I was drowning, but now I can live again. Yeah.
It's a Sunday night, it's a holy night, it's a Sunday night, it's a holy night.
Late night with the candlelight. Heaven bound, that's a big invite. Colorblind to the black and white. Show you love and you feel alright. We ain't have time to cry, we fight. Shades on me, cut the future bright. Stuck together and we hold it tight. Stand down through the dynamite. All aboard on the freedom ride. Time to sail down the riverside. Kept going, never satisfied. Here the guy just to glorify him. Yeah, and I'm still trying to pray for no more violence. Matter of fact, we gon' need some guidance. Yeah. Shine light, shine light, shine light, yeah. All is calm, all is calm, all is bright, yeah. Shine light, shine light, shine light, yeah. All is calm, all is calm, all is bright, yeah.
It's a Sunday night, it's a holy night, it's a Sunday night, it's a holy night.
I don't know how else to tell you this. I thank you, Lord, you saved my life. I say your name and you listening. I almost love, you got me right. I came out the slums, the dealers, the users, the bombs, the scammers, the hustlers, and drugs. I had enough, I need that light of the love. I never run off on the plug. Off on a plane, life way too crazy. I need Saturday night for clarity. Looking for the light, oh you might as well come with me, help you find it. Blasting off astronaut ignited. Silent night, take me to your highness.
Shine light, shine light, shine light, yeah. All is calm, all is calm, all is bright.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Hack Smarter Live. My name is Tyler. I am your host. Hey, super excited to have you hanging out with me tonight. I'm hoping that tonight's going to be more of a shorter stream. I streamed last night for I think a little over 2 hours, and the goal for tonight is to finish the machine that we started last night. Before we do that, before we dive into it, let me pull up chat. Get some things rearranged on my screen real quick. Pull this over here. We have, let me scroll up. We got Default Sec. We have 8-Bit Oni. We got the Real Bilbo. We have Sir Haxalot. We have Muhammad. We have Nefos. We have Jimmy Barrios. We got Tech Bender. 2 ARs. The one and only Malware Cube. Dario TG. Cyberlinked. Awesome. Well, hey, y'all, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me. So if you missed the stream last night, you can go watch it. You can go watch me realize I'm a noob is basically what the stream came down to. But I showcase a new platform called Vuln Lab, not to be confused with Vuln Hub. Vuln Lab is created by the top player on Hack the Box, XCT, or one of the top players, and it's him and some other community submitted machines, but they have standalone machines, they have Active Directory chains, they have red team machines with full like EDRs enabled on them, and it seemed like a cool platform, so I wanted to check it out, play around with it. So that's what we did last night. But then last night I started a machine that's supposed to be easy called Build. Now in the stream last night, if you were following along, we eventually got the user flag and got remote access to the machine, and then I was like, where do we go from here? And looked at the walkthrough, and it was like way over my head. But here's the thing, I do not like leaving challenges unfinished. So offline, I went through the rest of the machine. It probably took me 3 hours to work my way through it, to understand kind of what was going on and to understand the attack paths. So although I think the rating is bad, I learned a lot. Really well-designed machine, super unique attack path, and so I wanted to showcase that for you guys tonight on stream. My plan is to take the recording from today, splice it with part 1, and then make just one walkthrough video on the build machine. So that's going to be the plan tonight. And for those of you who weren't here last night, I'll give you a quick recap of where we were at. I need to grab... Hold up. I need to switch some things around real quick. If I move... Bear with me for a second. Okay, there. That should work. So here we go. These are my notes from when we were going through this last night. So we started this machine called Build on Vuln Lab. And like I said, definitely not easy. It's rated as easy, but... it would be probably a Hack the Box medium or a Hack the Box hard machine. Maybe medium. Maybe in between medium and hard is what it would be on Hack the Box. On Try Hack Me, this would be definitely a hard machine. Oh, thank you, Cody. Yeah. So thanks for asking, Cody. I'm live streaming right now on 3 different platforms. You can join on whatever platform works best for you, but you can join me on YouTube, Twitch, and LinkedIn. So Cody said the quality on LinkedIn is low. Let me just drop... Actually, I can't... So, Cody, LinkedIn is silly, and it doesn't allow me to send messages via Restream. So I'll drop a link to my YouTube in the chat, and it will maybe pop up on the screen if I would know how to enable it. There we go, it did. So you can join me on YouTube. So YouTube and LinkedIn, I stream under my name, Tyler Ramsby. And over on Twitch, I stream under the name hack_smarter. So YouTube, LinkedIn, Tyler Ramsby, Twitch is hack_smarter. I have the chat from all 3 platforms. You can join on whatever platform you want, and they will all work out. But let me go ahead. I'll zoom in a little bit so this isn't super hard to see, and maybe we can hide our sidebar here. So here's what we did last night. We have this Vuln Lab machine. And on our port scan, we had port 22, kind of standard SSH port. We had 53 DNS. We couldn't do anything special with DNS when we enumerated that port. We had some of these ports, RSH in particular. Once again, couldn't do anything super interesting there, but this was our way in. There's rsync on port 873. And if I jump down to my rsync notes, I'll show you what we ended up doing. So on rsync, I did some digging into hack tricks, and we figured out that, hey, we can actually list some files by following this command. We connected with netcat, we just repeat the version information, then we run list, and we saw there was backups. Well, we downloaded the backups, and it ended up being a jenkins.tar.gz file, which is actually a full Jenkins config file. From there, I think I put it in this note right here, there's a Getia instance on port 3000, but we couldn't access it. I mean, we could create a free account, but we couldn't modify the build or anything. Well, once we got the Jenkins information in that full Jenkins configuration file, we were able to decrypt the password. You can see we use this decrypt.py script. Once again, just found it on Hacktricks. It takes the master key, the Hudson util secret, and then the config.xml, and we were able to get the password get1234!! From there, we could log in as the build admin user, I think was their name, and we were able to get a reverse shell. With that reverse shell, we landed ourselves in a Docker container, and we were able to get the user flag. From there, we were stuck. There was really no clear Docker escapes. We had to enumerate the network, but A lot of tools aren't on the Docker instance, so we were just having some issues, and that's kind of where we left off. So before I start recording for YouTube, I want to get back to where I left off last night. So I'll show you guys at least this process and how we abuse the build pipeline to get a reverse shell, and then I'll show you the craziness of the rest of this machine. So I am on the VPN. I should just be able to connect to it. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. We'll open up Firefox, and once again, I said this is my homepage, so I remember to talk about it. If you're not part of the HackSmarter Discord, you should join it. If you go to hacksmarter.org, I'll drop this in chat. And on our website, if you just cat discord.text, you can get a link to our Discord, and you can check out our sweet HackSmarter terminal. But anyways, let's head over to this, http build.vulnlab 3000 for port 3000. And there we go. Let's go ahead and sign in. And I believe it was build admin was the name, and then get 1234 exclamation mark and sign in. Okay, beautiful. And we signed in. This is everything that I did yesterday. We can go ahead and look at our build right here. We have our Jenkins file. There's a webhook that's running this every 2 minutes, I believe, if my memory serves me correct. So let's go ahead and first just get our reverse shell back. So here is what I used directly from my notes. We'll copy this. A few things we do have to do though. First we'll edit. Drop this in here, but a few things. We need to modify this. So we have our cat shell.sh 10.8, and yep, that's of course my IP, so that'll be fine. And we can leave that as shell.sh. Let's go ahead and open up a basic Python web server on port 80, and we have to do sudo python3m hp server 80 like so. And actually, I didn't see what port that was listening on. What was it? 8000. Okay, got it. Sudo python3m hp server 80, and then we're going to open up a listener. We'll just call this our shell on port 8000 like so, just so we have everything set up so we are ready to catch that shell. So we have our listener on port 80. We will update our file here. Whoops, wrong one. We'll change this to shell.sh, and then our IP of course is right here, so we'll grab our IP and drop in our IP. Shell.sh, pipe it over to bash. That should give us a reverse shell on the Docker container running Jenkins. So let's go ahead and see if this works. Hit commit changes. And now we wait 2 minutes. Let me check out chat. Nick said stream seems best on Twitch. Okay, cool. So if you guys want to watch on Twitch, and I do find myself seeing that Twitch has the best quality, better than YouTube, better than LinkedIn, and it's probably because Twitch specializes in streaming. So I'll drop a link to my Twitch to all of you if you want to go hang out on Twitch. But there it is, twitch.tv/hack_smarter. But now let's give this a second. Said it can take 2 minutes, and then we'll dive into the craziness of what post-compromise looked like for you guys. Now we just stare at our screen together. There we go. You can see we have our GET request for shell, and we have our shell right there. Beautiful. We'll just CD out to the root directory. The root flag is in the root directory right there, and that's where I got that, or not the root flag, rather the user.txt flag. So I tried doing like SSH to go into other containers. I tried container escapes, was unsuccessful. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna start recording for YouTube, and I'm gonna splice these videos together with the beauty of video editing. It did not go to LinkedIn, but I dropped the link to Twitch and LinkedIn. Oh, thank you. I appreciate 8-Bit Oni. Thank you, thank you. All right, we're going to start recording. For those of you who are new to my stream, this might seem a little bit confusing to you because I've already welcomed all of you, but during my live streams is when I make my standalone videos for my YouTube channel. So if you don't follow me on YouTube, that is my primary platform. You can see all of my videos there, but we are going to hit record and I'm going to start talking for the people on YouTube who are going to be watching this after the fact, giving a short introduction as we cut through on this editing. So we'll do that. Hey, this is Tyler from the future. I got completely stuck on this machine, but I don't like leaving things undone. So I ended up spending about 3 hours offline figuring out how to get to root, took good notes, and we are now going to splice this together, and I want to show you the process on getting root. I do want to be clear though. I'm probably going to do it a little bit quicker than I did initially, but please don't let this give you imposter syndrome. There's no way I could have done this without looking at the walkthrough. I was completely lost on the root part of it, so I'm going to do my best to go slow, explain what is going on, and hopefully we learn something in the process together. So we left off here, right? We have our user flag, we are in the container, and I'll walk you through kind of these upcoming steps. Number one, we need to stabilize our shell. But that was the first problem that we had. If we do which, oh, can I not type? There we go. Which Python 3, there is no Python on this Docker container. So there's another way we can stabilize our shell, at least not fully stabilize it, but at least give us an interactive shell a little bit. And the way we can do that is with this command. We'll do script kc bin bash dev null. And now we have somewhat of an interactive shell. So we can do things like SSH and along those lines. So that is step number one. Step number two, if we just look at the files that are here, there's this rhost file. I also messed around with the SSH file because there's actually a private key in the SSH directory, but I couldn't do anything with it. So for others who have solved this machine, let me know if there's a way of using the SSH key to pivot around because I couldn't do it. I tried to pivot from one container to other containers and I was not successful. But there is this rhost file, which is going to come up handy later. So if we cat that out, and if you're taking notes, you'll want to save this to your notes because like I said before, that's going to come up handy later, and that is something I saved to my notes. Now, here's where it gets a little more difficult. We can't use ping, we can't use netstat, none of that is on this machine, but we need to enumerate some network information. And the way we can do that, can I clear now? No, I still can't do it, that's fine. But the way we can do that is we can cat out procnet route. So this is a file that at least shows our route so we can get some information about what is going on here. So let's go ahead and do that. If we cat procnet route like so, you can see we get this craziness, right? You have to split the bytes, you have to reverse the order from little endian to big endian, you have to convert from hex to decimal. But here's the thing, I didn't do it manually. I don't recommend doing it manually either. Let me stop sharing my screen just for a moment while I authenticate to my very good friend, ChatGPT, who can help us out with this. Because when I saw this network file, I knew, okay, I have to do some things to this, but I don't know what I have to do to it. So here's how I ended up doing that part. I just grabbed this, copy, and I said, explain this to me and give me the network info. So it displays the kernel's routing table. Here's a breakdown of the fields, blah, blah, blah. So it's talking through it, giving us some of the information. And then it's breaking it down here, right? So we have our, if I can scroll up, we have our gateway right here. And that's going to be one of the most important things that we want for this purpose. But we have our gateway, we also have our mask. So then what we're looking at as far as the actual IP is going to be 172.18.0.0, the IP range rather, that if you get the subnet mask up there, that's what we're looking at for our range. So we'll want to keep that in mind. And our gateway, of course, is 172.18.0.1. And maybe I should just grab this and we can drop it in, well, I have my notes up here. Let me go over to Getia and we can drop this in here. So we'll just say like network information just so we are recording this in our notes. But that's the first step that once again threw me off. I don't think I've ever got network information from doing that, but that was a learning process for me. Like I learned something new. I now know if I'm in a Docker container, don't have access to many commands, I can still get the routing information, the IP information, so we can do further enumeration on the machine. The next thing that we need to do is set up some pivoting. Specifically, what I ended up using was Chisel, and I'm seeing if I even recorded that in my notes, because I want to also publish these notes so there's some written stuff so people can follow along that way. And I don't think I did, but I know how to use Chisel. So here is where we're going to jump around between different networks. So for those of you studying for the OSCP, you might need to do pivoting. It's something that's taught in the course, something that you may or may not have to do in the actual exam. And there's different tools you can use. Initially, I try to use the Golo because that's one I've used often in the past and generally enjoy it. But for some reason, I could not get the Golo to work properly for this box. I don't know if it's the way the Golo does the proxying back and forth. I really don't know why I couldn't get it to work, but I was able to get Chisel to work. So let me show you all how to set up Chisel. Step number 1, we'll go here in our attack machine. Here's Parrot, it could be Kali, whatever your VM is, but you want to begin in your attack machine, and we're going to download a binary for Chisel. So let's go ahead and open up Firefox, and we'll type in just Chisel GitHub. And here we go. We'll go to releases. And here on releases, you can see that we have a few different packages. The one that we are going to want is this one right here, this Linux. Actually, we want the AMD one. This one right here is going to be the one I'm pretty sure we're going to want to use for both these machines. So we'll go ahead and download that. And now we'll go back over to our terminal, and let's copy from my downloads folder, the Chisel, and we'll do it there. And you can see there is Chisel. We'll do tar xf, I think. Is it? Is it gunzip? There we go. All right, and then we have our file there. Just so it's easy for us to see, let's go ahead and rename that file. We'll just call it Chisel. And now we'll change it to that, see if we can run it, and we can. Okay, cool. So we now have our Chisel file here. Now, for Chisel to work, we have to transfer the same binary to our victim machine, in this case, the Docker instance. Now, this part's pretty easy. Let's go ahead and set up a basic Python web server so it's easy for us to transfer our files. We'll do the python3.m HTTP server on 80, and I'm going to have to run this with sudo, like so. And we'll go over to our victim machine here, and we are root, so we can really do this anywhere. So we'll do it in the root directory, and we'll just, well, first, there's no wget, so that might throw you off, but if there's curl, you can also transfer files with curl, and there's curl on the machine. So we'll curl HTTP. We want to grab our IP, which is right there. I'm going to copy it. Grab our IP, and we want to do Chisel, and then dash lowercase o for an output file, and we'll just call it Chisel in the output. And the reason we are doing this, we want to set up Chisel in the pivoting so that from our attack machine, we can then hit the entire Docker network and begin to enumerate some of the other containers that might be running. So now we have this. Let's go ahead and make it executable. Jeez. All right, and we'll see if it runs. And it does. Beautiful. Now what we need to do is we'll head back over to our attack machine, and we will get the server running. So to do that, if my memory serves me correct, we're going to do Chisel, right? We want to run Chisel, and this is going to be our server, kind of like our C2 server. So the next one is just server, which that makes sense so far. We can do reverse and then port, and I believe the default port here is 54321. At least that's the one I often use. So port 54321. I think all of that looks correct. And there we go. We have it listening. And then over on our victim, we can grab our victim machine, and very similar. We want to run Chisel, but we're going to say this is the client now. This is not the server. We want the client to connect back to our server to set up the pivoting so we can hit the containers from our attack machine. So we're going to call this one the client, and we need to just type in our IP, which mine is 10.8.4.163, I believe, and then our port 54321. And then R9050, and we'll use the SOCKS proxy, and we'll just background it as well, so we can still use this. Okay, now that we have done that, we have this set up. You can see that we have our session set up there, but we need to configure our SOCKS proxy as well, which I usually do this in Kali. I'm assuming it's the same thing in Parrot, but I don't think I've actually done this in Parrot. Let's go ahead and give this a shot. What kind of mad science is this? This is what I'm saying, Methalis. This is why this took me so long, even offline, to figure out exactly how to do this. It is some crazy mad science. But let's go ahead and do sudo vim. I think it's exe. Is it proxy? Okay, it's just proxychains.conf like so. And we'll type in our password. Oh my goodness, I messed up my password bad there. All right, and I think it's at the bottom of this file. Yeah, so this line right here, we're gonna go ahead and modify. We're gonna change at the end of our socks proxy configuration. We'll do socks 5, 127.0.0.1, and 9050. Hit escape, we'll exit out of Vim. All right. We did all of that work, y'all, just to set up pivoting. And there was a part in the walkthrough that I completely missed, and kind of a lesson learned. When I scanned the build machine, I used Rust scan, which is what I often do, and I say any open ports I want you to pass over to nmap. And I missed 2 ports that were filtered, and these are apparently like vital to complete the machine, right? So lesson learned, I used to only use nmap in the past. I'm just gonna rename this to Chisel. I used to only use nmap in the past, and I started using Rust scan, but Rust scan missed this because it doesn't report on filtered ports when you're passing it over to nmap. I'm sure there's a switch for Rust scan to fix that, but let me show you what I missed in the first part of this video when we did our initial port discovery. We will run nmap real quick against this so I can just show this to you. I'm gonna do nmap, and we will do build.vulnlab, and we'll just do v like so. And I think that's enough. And we will let it run. What it's eventually going to show us is just 2 ports that are filtered. And like I said before, when I generally do my Rust scan command, I have Rust scan find any open port and then pass the open ports over to nmap to then run nmap against them. So because of my workflow in the beginning, I completely missed these 2 ports that were filtered. We have MySQL that is filtered, and we have this black ice cap thingy that is filtered. So because it's filtered, the thought might be, hey, it's filtered when I'm connecting to it from outside of the network, but now that we have gained access to at least the Docker network, maybe we're able to see what is running on these ports. And we can actually see that on our Docker container itself. If we check here, I think it's cat, I don't even remember the command. Let me see if I even wrote it down, because I don't think I did this. Oh yeah, no, I did write it down. Okay, cool. So we could check those ports, this 3306 and 8081 from the Docker container itself, with this command right here. Once again, I've never used this command before to see what services might be running, so this was completely new to me. The real Bilbo said, I'm so lost, but this is super interesting. Way out of my league. Hey, it's out of my league too. But that's how you get better, right? You tackle machines that are out of your league. You get stuck, you get frustrated, and you try it again the next day, and you look at a walkthrough if needed, and you work through the machine. You don't lose if you look at a walkthrough. You only lose if you don't learn something. So tackle the hard machines like this where you feel overwhelmed, and try to go slowly to understand what is going on. So far, here is once again the pieces we have. When we run an nmap scan against this IP from the outside of the network, there's 2 ports that are filtered, 3306 and 8081. We cannot hit these ports from our attack machine normally, but we did set up pivoting so we might be able to attack them. But even without the pivoting being set up, from our Docker container, since we're inside of the internal network, we can see if there's something actually running on these ports. So the way we can do that, we'll jump back over to our Docker container. We're going to do this weird cat command, but we're going to change the direction like so, and we can check it this way. Dev TCP 172.18.0.1. Remember, that's the gateway. We might have port forwarding set up, and we can check, for example, port 3306 from inside the Docker container. And when we do that, you can see there is a MariaDB MySQL database running there. We'll hit enter on that. All right, back to that. And the other port that was filtered is this 8081. That seems like a web server, and we do have curl on here, so we can try that as well. We'll curl HTTP 172.18.0.1, 8081, and we'll do -I to see the headers. And you can see, running on port 8081, we have a web interface for Power DNS. Now, we saw in our initial nmap scan, if we jump back over to this and go to vulnlab, in our initial nmap scan, we saw Power DNS, but that was just the DNS service running on 53. We didn't see any web server running. So the MySQL database is only accessible from inside the network, and the Power DNS web server is only accessible from inside the network. Those are two key points we really need to understand so that we're able to complete this room and get root access and eventually get the root flag. So those are some of the missing points. But now we have set up our pivoting with Chisel. So now from our attack machine, as long as I did proxy chains right, we should actually be able to hit those ports. So let's go ahead and test this. If we do proxy chains, we'll say port 3306, like that, on 172, what was the IP? 172.18.0.1. So 172.18.0.1, and we'll do V for verbose mode so we can see that it's actually working, and we'll see if this worked. And, oh, you know, maybe I should run nmap. Proxy chains can't discover ports for me. And it's still filtered. So that means I did something wrong. What did I do wrong? We have Chisel running here, which should work. I set up proxy chains, which should work. I did this offline using Kali, so I don't know if there's a different configuration I have to do for Parrot compared to Kali, but let's play around with a few things and see if we can figure this out. We'll do sudo vim etc proxy chains.conf. Is there something else I have to do in this? Do I need to do the SOX 4 or something? Whoops. No. It is still filtered. What the heck is going on here? I might have to switch back over to Kali, because that's where I know I got it to work for sure. Let's find out. Why is my proxy chains not working? I have everything set up properly for sure with Chisel. Is my config wrong? Oh. Oh shoot, it's proxy chains itself. The frick does that even mean? Is proxy chains in Parrot broken? Good call. Delayed drain. Thank you. I missed that. All right, I guess we can check this. Okay, well that one's there. Can I just reinstall it? We'll see if this fixes it or not. Yeah, on Kali it's proxy chains 4, and I had no issues with Kali, so maybe I just need to switch to Kali. Delete this file. Freaking A. I think Parrot apparently sucks. So, the magic of video editing. Give me 1 second, guys. I've been trying to give Parrot a chance. Parrot, you lost. You lost your chance at being my VM. That works flawlessly with Kali. And I'm not going to troubleshoot Parrot any longer. Oh, shoot. I got to transfer the VPN and crap over to this. Oh, I could just install Proxy Chains 4? Okay. Here, 1 second. I'll see if that fixes it before I fully give up on Parrot. But, like, why the frick would Parrot not work out of the box with Proxy Chains? Dear Parrot developers, you're a hacky machine. Proxy Chains should work out of the box. I shouldn't have to troubleshoot Proxy Chains. And yeah, you think they would have both on Parrot, but they don't. Why they don't, I have no idea. But this is like the most updated version of Parrot. So I'm not missing any updates on the Parrot machine. Give me just a second. All right. You guys can watch. We'll see if this works. I do have the sec Parrot, so or I have hack the box Parrot. That might be the issue. Because I used ipsec's like build to get the look of some of the stuff. Now, should I remove the original proxy chains, or maybe it doesn't matter? Let's see if we can at least edit the configuration. Oh, hey, there we go. We got 4 now. All right, beautiful. Let's see if this fixes it. All right, let's give this a shot. Our configuration we want to do is SOX 5 127.0.0.1 9050. All right. Oh, I'm not going to have this. All right, let's go ahead and just try this again. Oh, shoot. Frick. I broke all of the stuff because I closed the VM. I'm stupid. Oh, that's annoying. I don't want to redo all that. All right. Well, we have to redo it. Gosh dang it. I should have just given it a little more time and tried to fix it. Now I lost a bunch of time and I have to backtrack everything I did. Good job, Tyler. All right, give me 1 second, y'all. I have to literally redo everything we did, which is fun. Oh, am I not sharing my screen? Here, I'll share my screen in just a second with you guys. You can rewatch everything. It's so much fun. Hey, at least I still have that there. Okay, cool. That's a benefit. All right. We'll see if it at least runs and gives me a shell again. And then we'll have to reset up Chisel, which isn't that big of a deal. And then we'll be back to where we were at. If this doesn't work, I'm calling it a night. I didn't feel like streaming for very long. And if I have to continue to troubleshoot or reset the machine, then I'm just going to take it as a sign that I'm not meant to do this machine tonight. And I'm going to go play Elder Scrolls Online instead. I think the job should trigger. Should still trigger every 2 minutes, I would think. So hopefully it does. And then I'll have to figure out the video editing when I'm done. which is the part I hate the most, guys, about videos, is editing videos. I freaking hate editing videos. It's just so time consuming, waste of my time. Vone Labs is working out good, the Shy Hat. My Parrot VM isn't working out good, but it's okay. 2 minutes takes a lot of time when you're just looking at the screen. Do 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 do. Oh, HunterBot, what is up? Are you going to try that new Hack the Box Cape path, their new Red Team certification? I do want to try the path. I probably won't take the cert. I'm over cert. So like, once I got the OSCP and then landed a job as a pen tester, I just don't feel like doing more certifications. But I'll do the training for the cert. So like, I've done all the training for the CPTS and the bug bounty one and Hack the Box, and I do want to check out the AD one. But right now, I'm going through the senior web pen tester path on Hack the Box Academy. So I want to finish that one first. But guys, this isn't looking promising. Yep, I might be calling it. I don't feel like wasting my time anymore. I was hoping to jump on, knock this out quick, splice the videos together. But I'm not going to stay up on a Friday night and continue to troubleshoot this after spending all of last night on this machine. So I must have broken the build. Maybe once the build runs once with this in it, it tries to run over and over again, and then maybe it fails. I think we can check the activity here. I'm going to try to test delivery. Let's see if this does it for me. Maybe this will kick it into gear. Shoot. Oh, I think it triggers when I update the code, though. Maybe I can try to update the code as one last attempt. Although when I tested it, surely that should have triggered it as well. Okay, this will be my last attempt before I call it a night. Let's see if my thought on changing the code might work. Although one would think that just hitting the test button would also work, but maybe it's just testing the webhook itself and not actually like using the runner to execute it. All right, so that ran now. Nope. All right, I'm done. I'm not wasting my time anymore. I'll eventually finish this machine, maybe. But let me show you guys what we all ended up having to do. So here's from my notes. I can at least walk you guys through it for those who are curious. And then you tell me how this was an easy machine. But here's my notes from when I was going through this offline, right? I was able to get the IP information. I found the network. I saw that the one things were filtered. Here, I'll zoom in so you guys can see this a little bit better. All right, so here's where I enumerated the ports. We got up to this point, right? But once again, I was using Kali, and this just put the nail in the coffin for Parrot. I'm done using Parrot. Because if I would have been using Kali from the beginning, all of this would have worked beautifully. It worked no issues earlier today using Kali. But I set up the SOX proxy. From there, I was able to hit those ports, 3306 and 8081, saw that they were open. The MySQL server does not have a password set for it, so I was just able to do MySQL as root, and get logged in. But one thing I noticed, for those of you who want to do this machine, like if you want to torture yourself, you need to set this SSL equals 0, otherwise you'll get an SSL error when you're logging in. That was one little hiccup I ran into. But from there, I was able to get access to the Power DNS admin database. From there, I was able to dump a password right here for the admin user, and I was able to dump the route information. That gave me some of the other containers that are on the network so I could scan those with Nmap and figure out what was going on. From there, the intern build v1, that's the host. The Getia is, of course, the Getia container. The Jenkins one is where we had our reverse shell. And I just kind of matched those up by looking at the ports I was able to grab. From there, I tried to enumerate the other containers. I ended up looking at a walkthrough to figure out what container I had to look at because I was very much wasting my time at this point. I don't know if I finished this. Because when you run Nmap through proxy chains, it takes a long time. Like each one was going to take 10 plus minutes. I tried to transfer Nmap to the Docker container, but it wouldn't run because it didn't have etc services at all on the machine. I thought I can maybe transfer that manually, but I was like, no, this is too much work just to get Nmap to run. So that was one thing, is you have to run Nmap through proxy chains to discover the open ports. But eventually I discovered port 80 that was open on this .6 IP. I set up Chisel, or rather proxy chains, in Firefox so that I could visit the web browser via Firefox, via pivoting into the other network. From there, I had access to the Power DNS admin. I had that hash that I found before. I cracked the hash with Hashcat. I got access to the hash. I did DNS poisoning and set the admin one over to my machine, because when we look at, actually I'll show you this blog. I could show it to you in my notes, but I don't feel like exiting out of here. Or not blog. This walkthrough does a good job of explaining it, but basically the way our host was set up is anyone who connects from the admin interface, or the admin host right there, anyone who connects from the admin host can have access via RSH as root to the machine. So you have to DNS poison this, add in the IP of your attack IP as admin, and then finally use RSH to log in as root, and then you complete the machine. Why the frick Parrot hates me and I can't show? Oh, look, now it worked. I don't care that it worked, though. I'm not going to do this now. I showed you guys the process. I don't know why it didn't work before. Maybe it just took some time, but I can't stream 2 nights in a row, guys. I get too frustrated. Let me see if there was someone to raid, and y'all can watch them instead of me. Give me just a second. All right. Let me pull this up. So now you guys can see why, even when I did this offline, this took me like a solid 3 hours to figure out. And if I did it right now on stream, we'd be on for at least another hour, and I'm not going to stream for 2 hours again tonight. All right, let's see if anyone's streaming. I'm not seeing anyone. Everyone else is obviously smarter and knows, like, hey, you should just relax on a Friday night and try not to stream crap. Do I play chess? I don't often, but who's this person? I hate ads on Twitch. It's a Spanish streamer. Oh, and they're doing gaming. All right, guys, we're not even going to raid anyone because I don't know anyone who's streaming. So we're just going to sign off. So do want to say thank you guys for watching. I did learn a lot from the machine when I went through it offline. I think the rating for that machine is absolutely terrible. There's no way that's an easy machine. But who's Casio? I don't know who Casio is. Here, I'll check that real quick. If I feel like doing it, I'll come on stream again and finish it. I looked up Casio and they're not live. So. Oh, KCO. Okay, 1 second. Let me see if I can find them. What just happened? There we go. Twitch. I don't see them streaming. It doesn't say they're live. All right, well, guys, thank you for taking part of your Friday night to hang out with me. Hopefully you still learned something in the process. I really want to check out more of VulnLab. I think it's going to be a cool platform. I do think it's bad marketing that the first machine they recommend is this build machine. It's a well-designed machine. I learned stuff from the machine, but I'm not seeing that. I'm not, yeah. I don't know, guys. I'll try to make a second part and stitch them all together. But I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to go play Elder Scrolls Online. I'm going to relax instead of trying to hack stuff. My brain's tired, obviously, from the day. I'll catch you.